Ooh, are we recording? Yes. Hi. Who knows? I'm rubbish. And my name's Lee from Foodie Book Club and Lee in the Sweet Life. This here is the amazingly, oh, not you, Paul. You're coming last because you're the big star. Here's the amazingly talented digital person, Lizzie from Peachy Digital, and this is Paul. Oh my God, Paul! I can't even say this, and this isn't before. I know. Why can't I say it for me, Paul?
Aperitif. The Aperitif Guy.
Aperitif Guy. Now you are going to show us 3 fabulous cocktails for Mother's Day. But first, before you do that, while you sort of just think about what you're doing, tell me about you, how you got into this, everything. Give us a quick overview.
Okay. Well, Mother's Day is a good day to do this for me because I think hospitality is in my blood. I don't mean hospitality in the sense of working in a bar or a restaurant, but receiving guests into the house. It's something my mum was always took great delight in when we were younger. There was always, kind of when you're down to the last scrappy bits of cheese at the back of the fridge and the kids are moaning and there's nothing to eat. If relatives showed up unannounced, my mum would conjure up from the back of a secret cupboard somewhere salmon sandwiches and bags of posh crisps and this sort of thing. So my mum just took so much pleasure in having people around her table that it kind of became part of me as well. So that's the origin of it. So Mother's Day is a great time for me today because it pays tribute to what I got from my mum.
Why did you get into how do you get into the drinks? I mean, I can't even make a Diet Coke with something.
I got into the drinks because I love drinking. It's really as simple as that. And so kind of pairing this, I discovered a talent for cooking. I had my mum's obsession with hospitality. So receiving guests for dinner was the obvious thing to do.
Yeah.
And then I started to discover that certain wines went better with certain foods. So I investigated that a little more and then became quite adept at food and wine matching and then kind of extended beyond that. When I lived in France for a while, I discovered the aperitif and the idea of just stopping and everything stops and you gather with your friends and you have a couple of drinks and a little bit of food to nibble on and then you disperse and go your own way and do things. And it's a lovely punctuation at the end of the day. It says, we're not working anymore. The working day has ended. This is about relaxation. This is about family. This is about friends. And it's the shift from bonjour to bonsoir. It kind of encompasses everything, and that's kind of where I came from. Then got into cocktails because they're great aperitif drinks.
That's perfect. And you know what? If that's what we all need now, that sort of relaxed thing, because with all the stress of the things that are going on and the crazy world outside our doors, inside, and whether we've got a mother with us or not, just being able to celebrate them, whether they're here with us in a heart or, just let's
absolutely. And I think with so many of us working at home, it's very difficult to maintain a boundary between work and pleasure, work and relaxation. So I think having that kind of stop or having a drink is important.
So Liz is teaching and working from home, so I don't even get her started on that. So what's the
talking about this?
Let's go. Come on, because I'm really,
I love an aperitif, though.
Okay, so I'm going to start with quite an old cocktail, actually, one of the oldest ones. There's a mention of it in Dickens's Martin Chuzzlewit. Really? So we know for certain that it dates back before 1842.
Really?
And it's the cocktail that the paper straw was invented for. So here we go. And actually, it's a drink I associate with the 1970s. But it's a great, refreshing drink. It's a Sherry Cobbler.
What?
So
I've
got a shed load of crushed ice here that I'll come to in a bit. Because I don't want that too wet.
I've never heard of Sherry Cobbler, Paul, ever.
Well, there you go. It's very, very old. What? You were obviously far more innocent in the 70s than I was. And I was only a child.
I wasn't even born in the 70s.
I'm laughing so hard here.
Hey, behave yourself.
We're going to start, as we always do, by putting ice in our mixing jug.
Okay.
You can shake this or mix it in a jug. I'm going to mix it in a jug today because I want to keep my shaker clean for another cocktail.
Okay.
And then, as the name suggests, I'm going to add some sherry.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't need to be the best of the best. You know,
Uh-huh.
don't pay 20 odd quid a bottle for this, but don't go for the scrappy cheapest either.
And do you know, Paul, when you were saying about finding the cheese at the back of the fridge, that's the sort of thing that a lot of us have at the back of the cupboard, isn't it?
Yeah, and you'll have a cream sherry that you use at Christmas.
Yeah, for for your puddings or whatever.
Yeah.
I like to drink
Well,
sherry.
now, a cream sherry is a mixture of Oloroso sherry and Pedro Ximénez sherry. So Pedro Ximénez is very, very sweet.
Wow.
Oloroso means fragrant.
Okay.
So you get the cream sherry is a mixture of the two. Now today I'm using an Amontillado. So it's still got the lovely sherry fragrance about it. And I want 75 milliliters.
Okay. Is this a precise recipe, or is it like, and I've got a little drop in there?
Well, I know that my measuring this particular jigger is 35 mil.
Okay.
So I just throw in two without having a bit more.
Like that.
There are very few cocktails that need to be absolutely precise.
Right.
Precision works well in a bar. It's absolutely essential in a bar because you have to get the same flavour every time you produce that cocktail.
Okay, yeah.
Nobody is paying you money to drink what they drank last time.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
If you're at home, you can be more relaxed about it. But, you know, it is about a balance of flavours, so you do need to keep the proportions accurate.
Okay.
So Sherry Cobbler is basically a mixture of sherry and fruit juice.
Really? Of course, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yes, of course. Yeah. Sherry and fruit juice, yeah, of course.
I'm then going to add some other flavourings to this one.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with maraschino liqueur. I only need a teaspoon. So, you know, it's not that important. If you haven't got maraschino, use the syrup out of a bottle of cocktail cherries.
Okay.
I'll get the right measure first.
The thing is, the more you drink of this, Paul, I guess that measurement gets bigger.
Yeah.
The more you're thinking of this, because I'm already thinking, I want to have this. I'm going to look in the back of my cupboard and see what I've got in there, if I've got any sherry in there.
Yeah, if you've got a jar of those, you know, red cherries in syrup, that's flavoured with maraschino.
Yeah, so you just use that.
So just use that. Because the next thing out that my recipe says is sugar syrup.
Which is...
So a teaspoon of maraschino, a teaspoon of sugar syrup. You may as well use two teaspoons of the syrup off the cherries.
Exactly, yeah.
But I'm not going to use syrup, actually, because I think honey goes really well with sherry.
What a great idea. That'll give a nice undertone, won't it?
Yeah. And it gives it that kind of mellowness.
Yeah.
So that's my sherry base. It's been sweetened with the liqueur and the honey. It's been flavoured with those things.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The last thing I'm adding is a tablespoon of fruit juice.
Any kind?
Use your favourite fruit juice.
Okay.
I've just put in there a mixture of orange and apple because that's the mood I was in this morning.
I like an apple.
I've used pineapple in the past, and that's fantastic with the sherry.
Yeah.
I've used pure orange juice. I've used pear juice. They all produce a different flavour, but they're all delicious flavours. So I'm going to give them a stir. Now, if you want a spicy edge to it, you can add a splash of Angostura Bitters. You know the bottle that always hangs around at the back of the bar?
Again, another bottle that's at the back of your cupboard.
I've got a bottle of that, and I've never used it.
Got a bottle of that? Right, we'll put a bottle. We shall put a splash in then,
Yeah,
just for you.
you're right. Because we buy at Christmas or whatever. I know I do. I buy all these things, going, oh, I'll give it a go, and I think, oh, I never will. You know?
Yeah, that's literally. I bought it because I was like, oh, I love cocktails. I get this. Never used it. Still in the cupboard. It's still sealed.
If you're going to get into cocktails, Angostura Bitters is a great thing to buy. It's £10 a bottle at the moment. And I mean, the last bottle I bought before that one cost me £6. That one cost me £10. That tells you how long it is since I bought it. Because you're only putting a dash in every now and again. So give this a good mix.
Sound is great.
It's smelling very good. And now I come to my crushed ice.
Okay.
So get me grandson's favourite cup out.
Don't you be breaking that.
And the deal is to absolutely fill your glass with crushed ice.
Okay.
He says, lifting a few extra bits out that have fallen through.
Uh-huh.
So fill your glass completely with crushed ice, and then just strain your cobbler into the glass.
Just already it looks as if I want to drink it. You know what I mean? It's just the whole process of watching somebody make. It's like watching somebody cook. I go, I want to do that because
Yeah, it looks amazing.
I'm going to garnish that. There we go. With
Is that grapefruit or orange there?
it's a slice of frozen orange.
Ooh, nice.
nice.
So I've garnished that with half a slice of frozen orange and a cocktail cherry, because orange and cherry are both flavours I've got in there. And then, of course, absolutely essential, because they were invented for this, pair of drinking straws.
Yay! Number one. And that, listen, if my
So
mum...
that is your Sherry Cobbler.
Yeah, if my mum was
Even at this time
around,
in the morning, it's delicious and refreshing. So I'm going to have a sip.
good. If my mum was around, she'd want that, I tell you, because it's not just, in my head, it doesn't taste too alcohol-y.
Yeah. Well,
Sherry.
the longer you leave it standing with all that ice, the less alcohol you're going to get, of course, because that ice will melt into the drink. And at the moment, there's a good punch of sherry, but then these layers of sweetness and spice that we've added through the liqueur, the honey, and the bitters.
I like that. Oh, well done. Now, that's the first one.
That's the first one, the Sherry Cobbler.
You're not going to let that go to waste, are you? You're going to save that for later?
Lord, no, I'm going to have that with my lunch.
Like your style.
Lizzie and I
Put
are
that
on
to
our
one
way.
side.
Don't drink it all, but on our way. It'll only take us, 4 hours? Okay, so number two.
Number two.
Can I just ask you to tell, because this is something we said before, there's something about the strength of these cocktails, isn't there?
Yeah, we've decided that we will deliver these, we'll show you these cocktails, starting with the lowest alcohol content and working through to the highest alcohol content.
Mainly, I think, because we've asked you to sample them, and I think if we did it the other way around.
So much slurring.
So, next one I'm going to make is a Singapore Sling.
Oh, I've heard of that. Okay.
Right, now everyone's heard of it.
Okay.
Very few people make it home because it requires a lot of ingredients.
Oh, okay.
And, it's famously invented in the Long Bar at the Raffles Hotel in Singapore. There's so many ingredients, it took the bar so long to make that when it was very, very popular and there were people coming in all the time, they decided to stop making it from scratch. And they did a pre-mix that was sealed in plastic pouches. And so if you ordered a Singapore Sling in the Long Bar at Raffles, they would they'd fill a glass with ice, reach under the counter, open a pouch, pour it in and garnish it for you.
It's the ultimate ready thing, isn't it? Ready meal, ready drink. I mean...
It is, but people were so disappointed because, as you said earlier on, half of cocktail drinking, cocktail culture is theatre of watching it being made.
Yeah.
So anyway, the current manager at the Raffles Hotel has ditched all the premix and said, no, if people want a Singapore Sling, they want to see it being made.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So
what's first?
Here we go. You need a shaker for this one.
Okay.
And I'm going to fill my shaker with ice.
If people don't have a shaker, because we used a jug last time, not everybody has a shaker. They want to give us.
The difference is when you shake a cocktail, obviously your ice cubes are running through the liquid is running around the ice cubes a lot. So the two things that you put into the drink by shaking are air and water. Because you will get some melting of ice going on.
Yeah.
So if you want only a little bit of melt, a little bit of dilution, you stir your drink.
Okay, but if people haven't got the shaker, can they just stir?
They can just stir, it'll finish up stronger.
Okay, well, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Some people don't have a problem with that.
What are you saying, Paul?
So,
I can see your face, Lizzie. Stop it.
I do love a cocktail. I just love them. They're so good.
so when you make a cocktail, I'm using Boston cups here. You get one glass one and one steel one. Always work in the glass one so you can see what you're doing.
Okay.
And always start with your cheapest ingredients.
Okay.
That's not a kind of ritual thing or whatever. It's purely practical. If you make a mistake, you're throwing away the cheaper end of your drink.
Oh, of course.
If I was starting with all the expensive ingredients and then made a mistake, I'd be throwing away a lot of money.
That's
and some cocktails do use expensive liqueurs.
That's a great tip. Thank you, Paul. I like that.
Okay, so here I go.
Mm-hmm.
Ice, that's the cheapest ingredient. And then some lemon juice.
Okay.
Now, the recipe as it stands calls for 25 mils of lemon juice.
Okay, so you
it's just short of a full lemon.
Yeah, okay.
It's the easiest way. So I've just done that with my hands. Doesn't mean my hands are all wet. But,
have you found that little cut on your finger yet with the lemon juice?
No, the cut's on that finger.
Okay.
I found that when I was slicing them earlier on.
Oh, it's always one, isn't there?
Every time.
Oh.
And then, when you're working with citrus juices, you very often need a touch of sugar syrup.
Okay.
Now, you can buy this in a couple of supermarkets, or you can make your own. It's really simple to make. It's, you start with a cup of sugar and a cup of water in a pan, bring it slowly to the boil. When it hits the boil, just let it boil for about a minute, turn it off, let it cool, and that's your sugar syrup. It's as easy as that, and it can keep in the fridge for, 4 weeks, a month, something like that.
Or the end of the day, whichever you drink, however you drink.
Or the end of the day, and how much you're drinking, yeah.
Exactly.
So, there's no alcohol in it. It lasts a long time. You don't drink a lot of it. So, I want about a teaspoon of that.
Okay.
So those are my two very cheap ingredients. So, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, what's next cheapest? Probably cherry brandy.
Okay.
And I want a tablespoon of cherry brandy. And this is what makes this a Singapore sling. Slings are an early 20th century kind of mixed drink. And what makes a sling is that it's gin or spirit mixed with lemon juice, sugar, and soda water.
Okay.
And then in Singapore, they started adding cherry brandy to it.
Okay. This is interesting.
The Raffles touch is to also add Benedictine liqueur.
Oh, excuse me.
And I want a shot of Benedictine. So you're now getting, as well as the sourness of the lemon juice, you've got the sweetness of the two liqueurs, you've got fruitiness, you've got herbal flavours going on.
Uh-huh.
And, Benedictine, it's got flavours of angelica and genepi and dried sweet orange peel in there. So you kind of got several layers, even within the Benedict.
Nice.
You then have the cherry flavour. You then have the lemon, the sourness of the lemon. And then finally, the last alcoholic ingredient I'm going to put in is, just checks its quantity. It's 40 mils.
Is that a gin?
Of gin. Now, I'm using Tanqueray there. The reason I use Tanqueray is it's an uncomplicated flavour. The reason I've got a litre bottle is because it was on special offer this week.
Yeah, I'm sticking to that, aren't you? That's a personal supply, we know.
Absolutely. So, the thing about cocktail gins is you don't want complicated flavours. You're already complicating the flavour. Yeah. So Tanqueray, Masons, Whitakers, they're all good, what I would call clean tasting gins. Yeah. With the more complicated ones, your Bombay Sapphire and that sort of thing, they're great for gin and tonic, but they don't work as well for cocktails. Okay.
I really enjoy Ophir.
Steel part of the shaker on, turn it the other way up, and shake until your hand can't stand the cold anymore. Okay.
What a sound. That's such a great sound. Lizzie, you said there's one gin that you like. What was that you said?
I can never pronounce it properly. Is it Opia?
Opea, that's a spice one. I wouldn't recommend Opea in this
No,
because
not for
the
cocktails.
spices will kind of take it in a different direction.
It's nice to have with a,
Very nice with a tonic.
Right.
Beautiful bottle as well.
Yeah.
So I'm now preparing my glass. I'm using a tall glass.
Uh-huh.
I've put ice in there. There's a bit of a cherry theme going on today, but I'm going to put a cherry in there on a cocktail stick.
We all like cherries.
We do. And then strain this.
Drinks do look very retro, don't they, with the whole cherry thing, and perfect for
It's
this.
a very bright colour of yellow. You can get these days more naturally coloured cherries that are a lot darker. And then final touch, some sparkling water.
Nice. Just to give it a zoomph.
So all of those alcoholic drinks are just rounded off there a little bit.
Nice. Okay.
And that's my Singapore Sling.
Love it. Okay, give it a slow.
I'll just bring that to the camera, then you can see it better. That's the Singapore Sling.
Don't know why I'm doing this. And
There's the Sherry Cobbler that we saw earlier.
And you're going to take some photographs of these, aren't you, for me, and send them to me?
Well, actually, the beloved will, but he's much better at drink photography than I am.
And all the recipes, in case anybody will be on the website leeandthesweetlife.com on our lockdown lunches page by the end of the day of this. And once I get the pictures up, I'll just add those to them. And this will be uploaded by Monday.
Okay. And what I'll do is I will put them on my Mother's Day blog post.
And just if you can link us into Foodie Book Club lockdown lunches, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you want to, I'll take this opportunity now to plug myself.
Say as much as you want.
If you want to follow me and learn more about my style of hospitality and my taste in eating and drinking, I maintain a blog, which has turned into something quite popular. So you can find that by following blog at theaperitifguy.co.uk.
Yep.
You can follow me on Twitter. I'm slightly addicted to Twitter. It's not good for my health. But I do tweet a lot, so you can easily find me on Twitter by searching for @Aperitif Guy. I have a YouTube channel demonstrating cocktails and other things. So just search for the Aperitif Guy on YouTube. So you can find me at least 3 different ways. I also do occasional pieces for the Yorkshire Times and the Handbaked Harrogate magazine. So
and all of your links, Paul, let me just stop you. All of your links that you said will be on my page. So I'll literally, everything, I'll just link them all straight back to you, to all of them.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that.
No problem. It's just, all about you. Okay, I don't know how strong the other one was, but if this next one is the strongest, because...
Shall I taste it for you and tell?
Is it going to be similar to kind of like Negroni recipe? Because that is... Whew.
Well, this one's got... this is just full of alcohol. Forget the... Look, you're smiling.
Negroni. Love it.
So, Singapore Sling here. I've put enough soda water in it for it to be a little bit more mellow. But I've got the lovely herbal taste of the Benedictine in there. That's the first thing you notice.
Uh-huh.
And then the lemon juice is giving it some freshness. But because there's so many sweet ingredients, it doesn't bite, like lemon sometimes does. And so that's a nice one. You just imagine you're sitting out on the veranda in some tropical hotel. It's lovely.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh God, I'll be happy just sitting around a cafe table outside with Lizzie. Tell you.
Yeah, literally.
So the final one.
Yeah, let's go.
Excited.
A Manhattan. Now I'm not doing a modern Manhattan here. This is an older recipe than the modern one. Modern Manhattan. I'm going to put 2 ice cubes in there, I think. A modern Manhattan, you would normally most bars would just mix bourbon, red vermouth, and a splash of Angostura Bitters.
Okay.
This is what's known as a sweet Manhattan. It's a bit older, and I think a more rounded drink, and altogether more balanced drink.
Okay. Is it, I'm thinking Manhattan, like Sex and the City, or is that not Sex and the City?
It wasn't a Manhattan-based drink. It was Cosmopolitan.
Cosmopolitan. Okay.
But it was one of those. It was Ali McBeal, I think. Was somebody
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Manhattan is more Mad Men.
Oh, I love Mad Men. Like working in the industry that I do, I really appreciate everything that they do in Mad Men. It's so good.
Right. I just think they look cool myself. Forget the industry. So ice.
We've got ice in a glass, heavy bottomed glass, short glass, and I'm going to start by adding a splash of Angostura Bitters.
Got to get yours out of that cupboard, Lizzie. Already we've had two.
I know. We see.
Oh yeah, you use it in all sorts of things. You know, you could put it in the Singapore Sling as well if you want.
My brother-in-law works at a cocktail bar.
You know, oh, sorry, go on.
I said my brother-in-law works at a cocktail bar, and he was here at Christmas, and he discovered the bitters in the cupboard. I had Aperol and all sorts, and he was so excited. He was like, oh, because he works at a specific well-known rum bar. And he's terrible. He gets us so drunk. I love him. He was thrilled.
Well, if he works with rum, then he will be making a lot of rum old fashions. They're very popular at the moment. And you need Angostura Bitters for an old fashioned.
Yes.
So what have you got there?
So I've got me ice. I've got the bitters on there. Next most expensive ingredient is red vermouth.
Okay.
So sweet red vermouth. If I were to mix sweet vermouth and dry vermouth, then that would be what's called a perfect Manhattan.
Okay.
But this one is just the sweet because I wanted to make a sweet Manhattan.
Okay.
So I've just added 25 millilitres of that. And then bourbon. You can use bourbon or you can use rye whiskey. Doesn't really matter. Slightly different flavour. It's a matter of personal taste.
Well, I'm into
Don't use Scotch or a Scotch style whiskey, such as an English whiskey or an English or Japanese whiskey. If you want that kind of sweeter, smoother whiskey, so Irish would work.
Okay.
Or bourbon or rye.
Okay.
And I'm going to add 60 mils of this. So we've got 25 mil jigger.
This is looking naughty. I like it.
Oh yeah, it's very naughty. So there you go. This is of the same style of drink as a martini, effectively, where it's virtually neat spirit. And then just an added layer of sweetness and an added layer of flavour. Back to my maraschino. I'm going to add a teaspoon of that.
Didn't need that anyway.
Now, doesn't have to be maraschino. Equally honourable tradition is to use Cointreau.
Oh, nice.
So if you want to go in more in the direction of oranges, use Cointreau. If you want to go more in the direction of stone fruits, use the maraschino. You're only using a teaspoon, so it's only a hint, a suggestion of it. And then I've just dropped my bar spoon on the floor, so I'm not going to be able to stir it with that. I shall stir it with my nice seahorse-headed swizzle stick that I've put a cherry on the end of.
Oh, that's really sweet.
So there we go. And again, if I just lift that over, you can see, I think you can just about see the head of the seahorse on it.
It looks really sophisticated, that drink, doesn't it?
It is. Strangely enough, when I run these by my mum, said, I'm doing these Mother's Day cocktails. Can you just check on what I'm doing? This was the one that was her favourite.
There you go. Oh, that's fabulous.
You should toast Mrs. Fogarty.
Bless her heart.
What's the name?
Oh, Alicia.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. What's your mum's name?
Alicia.
Alicia. That's a beautiful
Lovely
name.
name.
Alicia.
It's very unusual name to St Helens in the 1940s. she grew up hating it and has come to love it.
Oh, bless her.
Fabulous. Right, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah, sure. I'll just put this drink to one side.
All right, then.
So we can get Graham to photograph them.
Slurring yet?
No, I've had a sip of each. I could probably even still drive.
Just a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Right. A drinks fad that you're so happy has just gone out the window.
80s cocktails.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Oh, God. How I hated that sort of thing.
Sex on the beach and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, anything that's kind of
Saucy and
tutti frutti with low alcohol and a dirty name.
yeah.
And then covered in
All
bits of paper and plastic.
Yeah.
You look, there's nothing I've garnished those cocktails with that you couldn't eat.
Yeah, I know.
I did, and although they're fruity and they're light, they don't glow with artificial colours. There's no pop in there. It's a serious adult drink. So yeah, all of that nastiness that harks back to the fun pubs of the 1980s.
Do you remember those fishbowl things that people?
Oh, that makes me think of the strip on Tenerife.
Oh yeah, and that
Yeah.
the sort of thing. I just never got those. I mean, I don't want somebody else to spit in my drink. It's just
Luminescent.
Yeah, and that's the other thing just to draw attention to is I haven't used the standard V-shaped cocktail glass.
Yeah.
You don't need to. If you're making cocktails, you don't have to have one of those glasses. They're the traditional glass for a martini. I haven't made a martini today, so I've not used that glass.
Yeah.
So use glasses that will make an interesting visual.
Yeah. No, I love that.
And again, that's why I chose 3 different shaped glasses.
Love the last one.
Play with it, make it look good.
The last question is: if somebody had to put one alcohol purchase on their birthday list, what would you suggest for them? Tricky one, that, because there's such a lot, I think.
There is. I would say the most versatile spirit for making cocktails is gin.
Oh, okay.
But if I were to say, most people would be buying gin as an ordinary thing, so it's not a put on your birthday list.
Yeah.
If I was to say something that you would put on your birthday list, probably one of these liqueurs I've used.
I want them all.
Yeah.
Probably for me, I'd probably go for the maraschino liqueur.
Right. Okay.
It turns up in a lot of my favourite cocktails.
Right. Okay.
But it's not something anybody would ever consider buying, and it's therefore not cheap. But you're only using half a measure here, a teaspoon there. So it does last a while, but it's not something you would ever think to buy yourself, and you do have to go looking for it.
I like that tip, though. Thank you so much, Paul. I'm just going to ask everybody to follow Paul and all of his things, and you'll find the recipes on leeandthesweetlife.com, lockdown lunches. Paul's going to put it on his say that all again. Tell us all again where you'll be on website.
It'll be on blog.theaperitifguy.co.uk mid-March, because I will do this as my Mother's Day post.
Okay, perfect. And let me tell you a little bit about Foodie Book Club. Please follow us and subscribe. It's a thing that nobody gets any money for this. All it is to help the emotional support of everybody we can reach. That's what it is. And we shout as loudly as we can about the food and drinks industry. We support independent businesses till it's bleeding out of our ears. So join us and subscribe. You'll get a free little gift when you subscribe, and you get access to discounts and recipes every week. It's wonderful. This is going to be on next week's newsletter, with pictures and everything like that. So thank you so much. Thank you, Lizzie. I love you so much. I'm never sure how to get out of this, but Lizzie's going to turn us off now. So
second, however, I just want to chip in very quickly and give a virtual high five to Kathleen Cordner. Bless her. I've been chatting with her while we've been filming. She's been desperately trying to access the video. So just to reassure everybody that we will upload this to YouTube and share it all across social media. So if anybody's missed it, you will not miss out.
Listen, I'm like Paul. I'm on Twitter all the time. In fact,
Right.
that's crazy.
We'll
But
say
I love
bye
it.
now.
But bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye, Paul.
Bye-bye.